All right, New Hampshire Motor Speedway road course. It's been a long time since this has been on the calendar, at least for me. The last time I did this, I think I was 1,000 IR. Um, it is when I was in the bottom splits. It is a crashy track, so watch out. This could be a lot of trouble even in the top split. Who knows? Could be a lot of crashing here. Track's 23, so I think that's on the cool side. This season seems to be 21 to 28 degrees track temp, so keep that in mind. This track is a little more punishing than usual, I find, on cold tires, so everything here is you want to maybe brake a little sooner or a little harder when you're in the early laps. Hot tires, the grip definitely does pick up, so be careful with that. As usual, we'll go through the laps in slow-mo and then run it out at full speed. The setup's in the description below. So here we go. Coming into turn one in fifth gear. Uh, Basically looking for the, well, about the 1.5 board in between the 1 and the 2. Um, Getting on the brakes, fifth gear, shifting down into third. Pretty good on the brakes. Again, cold tires, a little bit more on the brakes. And then looking for this yellow line. At the yellow line, shifting down into second. And just sort of modulating the throttle, making sure you're not going to spin out. And getting tight up against this curb. It's not too punishing if you get on it, but tight up against it is probably best. Keeping it in second, just modulating that throttle. You don't want to come out wide here. If you overcook it, I mean, you can come in hotter, but it's going to sacrifice you for the next corner, and that is going to really, really slow you down. So it's important, just modulate that throttle, get tight up against here. You can get on this curb and just get on the edge of this grass. If you get really more over than what I am, you are going to get a 1x. In a race, that's not going to be too punishing or anything, but obviously in qualifying, that's going to wreck your qualifying lap. So keeping it in second gear, you want to try and get yourself as far over to the right as you can, you know, mid-track, but right-hand side of mid-track, and then turning in here. There may be cars you got to watch out for that will go slower and try to get way over to the right to try and open this up some more. Watch out. You are going to gain on them very, very fast, and by the time you get to the apex, you're going to be coming together with them. So watch out for that. In second gear, you want to have the, again, just this section's tricky, modulating the throttle. As you get close to the apex here, you want to be as tight as possible, obviously without losing a tire. And I find here just, I'm on the gas and then just a little lift right before the apex, and that really helps kind of rotate the car and get the car turned in. It's important you really get that turn in here, because as you get on the gas and on the power, if you don't have the car turning in enough, you are going to end up against this wall. You can avoid that by lifting, but obviously that's going to cost you some time. So just a little lift before the apex, just to help rotate the car, and you will not hit this wall again on cold tires. There's more lifting involved because it is pretty darn slick. So in second gear, working your way up into fourth. Getting over to the left-hand side here, again, just trying to be as left as possible, open this up as much as possible. You're looking for, in real time, I'm looking for this last cone. Obviously, in slow-mo, I'm braking before that cone, but in real time, it looks like I'm kind of lined up with the cone. Hard on the brakes from fourth gear down into first. This is a very, very crashy corner in my experience in the past, way back when. Uh, you're looking for the curb here. It's not even that really visible. Um, I don't know what the exact measure is of the slowdown. I believe it's your outside tire. If it crosses this white line, you get the slowdown, but it could be your inside tire. If it gets onto the pavement, you get the slowdown. So just be cautious of that. Aim for the center of this. You want to obviously take as much as you can, but if you take too much, it's a slowdown. It's a very painful slowdown. Uh, so just be aware of that. The other thing is if you've got a car right in front of you, this is extremely hard to sight. So, practice a little bit of checking where your car is against this dark patch of pavement. Because, yeah, car or two or three in front of you, this is going to be quite hard to sight unless you're the lead car. So, yeah, you don't want to take probably too much more than that, otherwise you get the slowdown. In first gear, working your way up to second, you can, if you've overcooked it, you can get out here really wide. It extends the track. It's not ideal, but it's not too punishing. But you do want to kind of keep mid-track, keep it tight along here, and just work your way up the gears. And again, getting up to the top of the hill here, you don't really want to run it out to the outside edge. It's not too punishing if you do, but it does extend the track a little bit. I could have even had that probably a little tighter than that. So first gear and through that corner, and then working your way up the hill, up the gears. And you want to work your way over to the right hand side here. Obviously don't turn the wheel too hard, you don't want to scrub any speed. And then you're looking for kind of between these two cones in real time. That's what it looks like. I'm braking a little earlier than that, but in real time it looks more like you're between the two cones. Braking down into third gear, and then again in real time it kind of looks in between the two cones, shifting down into second gear. And yeah, the brake, you kind of have to feel it out. Depends on how strong your brake is. You want to get into the apex of this. I missed it just a little bit here, and believe me, it does actually cost you some time. It is important to get really down into that angled curb. It does take some time off. I didn't lose too much time there, but it did cost me a little bit. Working up into third gear, just holding it tight, trying to straight line this as much as possible. So just hit this left hand edge and then open up the wheel, and you want to exit onto these curbs on the right. The shadows here make them a little tough to see. You don't really want to get on the grass there. You're not going to die if you do, but if you take too much of the grass, you'll probably get an X and it will slow you down. And you don't really want to run out wide here. Keep it tight to the right. These cones are going to go flying in the race, so watch out for flying cones. People are going to be clipping these. You want to keep it as tight as you can. So in third gear, you can go up into fourth, but I like to keep it in third. It's just more consistent. And then basically, in real time again, it looks more like at the end of the tires I'm lifting, but in slow-mo I'm lifting before that. Shifting down into second. On cold tires, you're going to want to dab the brakes and shift down into second, but once the tires are hot, simply shifting down into second and lifting will slow the car down enough. You'll just have to play around with that cold tire section, and then when you get to this curb, shifting down into first. Again, this can be a little tricky if you're following a car really close, so just kind of be aware of that. Down into first, hugging this right hand side. Now there's going to be people trying to pass here, so you may have to go defensive on this one. This is a tricky track. Every corner pretty much someone can kind of go for it, so just watch out for that. So first gear, just kind of modulating the throttle. Right now, yeah, I'm just sort of off throttle, just picking it up a little bit. This is a nasty curb. You want to just graze the edge of it. If you take more than that, it's going to upset the car and send you way off wide here. And really, you're going to lose some positions. So just picking up the throttle as early as possible in first gear, working your way up into second, and right up to the edge of the grass here. You can barely just sort of edge the grass here with your tire, but if you actually get your full tire width onto the grass, it is an X. In a race, it's not the end of the world, but in quali, that obviously will kill your lap. And then just working your way up the gears, keeping it tight to this yellow line. The infield, so the apron here is technically you're not supposed to be on it. For some reason, iRacing never seems to give you an X for going on the apron in any of these modified ovals. If it, I've tried it to see if it works. If you actually get fully on this apron, it doesn't gain you any time. This surface is slick, so you just want to really keep it right up tight against the yellow line here. You do want to shift up into fourth. Your tires, they're gonna be squealing and scrubbing a bit, but holding in third actually is a little bit slower. So by the time you see these signs, you definitely want to be in fourth gear. Especially if you're drafting and on cold tires. Definitely the first couple of laps you can actually spin out here, so you do have to lift a little bit on the throttle on the first couple of laps, otherwise you will lose your back end. But once the tires are hot, you can keep it pinned, and then just working your way up into fifth gear to the finish line. So that's a 112.9. Definitely, there's a little more time to be had, but if you're in the low 113s, I mean that's going to be your pretty competitive. You're definitely doing well if you're in the low 113s, and 112s is what you should be shooting for. So that is a lap here. I'll run it out at full speed. Good luck up there. Watch out. This is a crashy track. I hope I'm wrong this season, but in my first experience with it, it was a nightmare.